If you're positive, you better bless this space. If you are negative, you better get up out my face. If you are positive, you better bless this space. If you are negative, you better get up out my face. If you are positive, you better bless our space. If you are negative, you better get up out our faces.
Period. I don't have my bell because it's really far away from me, but I do have a really cute wreath with bells on it.
Actually, that's really cute. Hello, I'm Space.
Hello, Space.
Who are you?
Who am I? I am a woman.
Oh, no.
I am a woman determined to make
To introduce this episode
out of herself. Yes, I am Azauri. Welcome back to another episode of Witches and Weebs, where otaku and spirituality come together to form a harmonious community of witches and weebs. I am tripping over my words because I don't know how to control my tongue. Like I said, I'm Azauri.
I'm Space.
Again, and today's episode, so you want to be a baby witch. Dun, dun, dun. Dun, dun. Space is going to be taking the reins of this episode because as a baby witch myself, I have many questions. I have done my research, but I am not equipped enough to talk about this. So I got my handy dandy notebook. I got my cool handy dandy pen, and we gonna let Space start us off.
Okay, so the first things first is I actually don't really like the term baby witch. Because I think once you express the interest in witchcraft, start learning witchcraft, and beginning the studies, you're basically an apprentice witch. So I think that calling yourself a baby witch is limiting yourself.
Okay.
Because you're just like, oh, I'm just a baby witch. I don't know anything.
All right.
When you think of yourself as an apprentice witch, you're like, okay, I have to do this next to learn something new. I have to keep working. I'm an apprentice.
Yeah, okay.
So
I'm an apprentice witch.
That's first things first is I wouldn't call yourself a baby witch, but a lot of people like to use that term on the social medias. Mm-hmm. So it be what it be. If we want to attract people to this episode, that's what we're going to call it. So you're a witch now. If you're interested in this episode and you're interested in starting your journey, I now call you an apprentice witch. Welcome to the family. Hello. You might not have your path yet, but you are now an apprentice baby witch.
Ooh, you said baby witch?
I did say baby witch, and I heard it come out my mouth and I went, why did I do that? Old habits die hard.
They do. I love that movie.
So, outside of that point, a lot of it is just starting somewhere and beginning. Just taking the plunge. Mm-hmm. If you don't want to do the research in the history of witchcraft right now, okay, go to types of magic. If you're like, well, that's boring, okay, then research symbols, research grounding, research meditation. We have an episode on that. Check it out. Research grounding. There's plenty of stuff to start, and there's no real order to start it in. I'm gonna just give you a rapid fire list of not rapid fire really, but a list of topics that are just good places to start. Mm-hmm. And from there you'll probably find other things that you want to research by going through. Like, you're gonna research types of divination. You might find one that's palmistry, and you're like, I would like to learn that. So you're going to deep dive into palmistry, and then you're probably going to find out what culture palmistry starts in, and then you're going to research that culture. So you're gonna build slowly but surely, and it's not a rush to the finish line. You're never going to be finished.
Right.
Don't even bother thinking about a finish line. It don't exist. It does just keep a running. Just keep a running. So where I started was the history of witchcraft. And I'm not talking about just the Salem witch trials, the witches burned in Europe. I'm talking about the shamans of, I have it written down somewhere. Let me grab it. Okay. I'm talking about Celtic cultures, which consider themselves druids of nature. There's indigenous North American cultures, just for the sake of knowing what they're like and what not to use. Because having that research is very important. Researching close practices is still important because you need to pick out what in your little favorite little aesthetic book is appropriated and not.
Like smudging.
Smudging, that is appropriated. Smoke cleansing is just smoke cleansing. You can smoke cleanse with an herb bundle. That's not smudging. Smudging is a whole ritual that Native Americans of specific cultures practice. You don't do that, so stop calling it smudging. There's Norse culture you can dive into. There's African cultures. I don't know how to pronounce the African cultures' names because, yeah, these are a little hard, but there's many different types of, overall, I want to say they're kind of similar to shamans, but they have each of their specific names depending on where they're from. There's, of course, you want to research the medicine women, the apothecaries of China. Shout out to the apothecaries. Anime that we're watching.
Apothecary. What the fuck is apothecary? Apothecary
I don't know what the
diaries.
fuck that is. So you want to do a little bit of everything. Research from all different cultures because you're going to find something of interest. And you're going to find something that interests you. And you're going to be like, I wonder if they had that in my culture. And start researching your own culture and be like, okay, they do have something similar to this. So, next, different types of witches. Because there's many different types of witches. And there's also just eclectic witches, which take various practices from each branch of witches. Like an eclectic witch can do kitchen witchery, but not really consider themselves a kitchen witch because they also do divination and they do spellwork. They do all three. Where typically a kitchen witch focuses more on kitchen witchery, cooking, herbs, spices, and all, knowing all the stuff that goes into a kitchen. And then there's crystal
kitchen witches. I love y'all.
Shout out to kitchen witches. I love you bitches. Can't cook? I would marry you. Thank you.
Absolutely.
There's green witches. There's sea witches. There's storm witches. There's crystal witches. There's tarot witches. There's all kind of witches. I could never name every single type of witchcraft here. So that's the next thing, because you could also start to figure out what kind of path you want to go on. I would never recommend labeling your path until you're probably about 3 to 4 years into your practice. And you've tried several different styles of practicing or just different types of witchcraft. Because labeling yourself right away, you're tunnel visioning. Your mind is now only going to focus on that. You have now told your mind what you are, and your mind is going to confirm it. So even by saying, oh, I think I'm going to be a crystal witch, your brain, I know, Mia, I'm going to call you out right here, but it was the only thing I could think of.
I just got called out.
I did just
damn show. Like, excuse me.
I straight up just called Mia out.
Okay,
because
in my defense, I don't really cook that much. I just don't.
However, there's other things that you would like to try that I think would involve into your witchcraft practices. You want to forage? That's a green witch, bitch. You want to garden? That's a garden witch, bitch. You want to commune with tarot and spirits? That's a hedge witch or a divination witch. There's plenty of different fucking witches you could develop in.
I would like to consider myself an eclectic witch.
Okay.
With a
That's
crystal
fair.
lean. Okay. Because crystals is what I know best, and I do tunnel vision on crystals because that's what I'm most interested in.
Yeah, and that's fine. However, that can't be what you are telling yourself. So your brain doesn't work in the way that people think it is. It's confirmation bias. What you say, your brain is going to seek to confirm. That's why when you say, if you get up in the morning, it's like, fuck, I got off on the wrong side of the bed. Now your brain is going to seek to confirm that you are right.
And now you're angry.
And now you're angry because your brain is literally only seeking things that's going to make you angry because it wants you to be right. So it's like, okay, I think I'm a crystal witch. Your brain is now going to be like, I'm going to hyper focus on crystals because I'm going to prove myself right.
I just have ADHD, so I hyperfixate on crystals regardless.
I'm just saying, it's the only reason is I've used crystals because you had your pendulum right in the corner, and I looked at it and went, oh, crystal. That was it.
I do be crystal-y, okay? I am very into crystals. I'm into other things, but crystal's my bread and butter. Because it's what I know best. Like, yeah, I'm gonna learn how to do other things, but crystals was my foundation.
Yeah, and
even
that's fine, but don't say...
I'm a crystal witch. It was more of like, I really do, even before I even labeled myself a witch, apprentice witch, baby witch, whatever, I was drawn to crystals. Crystals was my thing.
The thing about crystals is that could also just be more of your spirituality side and not necessarily your witchcraft side at all.
Very true.
Because crystals is more, I would say, like 65% more spirituality and psychology than it is actual witchcraft.
Yeah, like you can use crystals in spells, but they, as far as I'm concerned, are not required at all.
Absolutely not. They're just energy, they amplify energy.
Yeah.
But they are not needed at all.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't consider witchcraft's crystals a absolutely needed element of witchcraft.
Right.
So I think that crystals could be just generally a part of your spirituality practice, and you're not a crystal witch at all. You're a crystal practitioner, which I consider practitioners more of a spirituality thing.
Uh-huh.
Now, into the different types of magic. Once you list different types of witches, now you look into the different type of magics that they do. I mentioned kitchen witchery. That's a bitch who knows how to cook and knows how to make spells out of her food. A green witch is a person that knows how to garden and herbs. There's probably more to that element, but I am not a green witch, so don't quote me on this.
Hedge witches, comment and tell us what you do, because we would love to know what you do.
Honestly, any witches who have a path that is different than ours, comment your path below so we can learn about them a little bit. Because I only know very few in depth because they're the ones that I have leaned into. Sea witches, they work a lot with the sea. I'm by the beach, so of course I've looked into that. Hedge witches are very people that work with spirits. They tend to work through the veil. They commune with spirits. They commune with, they do a lot of divination with spirits. They, Ouija boards, because I don't believe the Ouija boards are bad things. People just fuck around and find out.
Literally. If you fuck around and find out, you have to be prepared for the consequences. If you're going into something trying to be ha funny with absolutely no experience or any research or knowledge about it whatsoever, you are literally fucking around and finding out. Because you see how people who are like wanting
and then
to
they make
edgy,
it so evil, and I'm like, no, you just fucked up.
Like you see how people just are trying to be, edgy, funny, haha for the views, pick up a Ouija board, and now you have a demon attached to you. Congratulations. Whereas people who have been practicing that sort of thing know how to open it,
they know how to close it, because you have to close the connection.
Uh-huh.
But you guys aren't practitioners, and you're not witches, and you're not those people who know how to do that. So of course you guys get all the stupid stuff that happened to you because you guys are fucking around and finding out.
Yeah.
So there's no practice of witchcraft that is bad. It's people that use it bad. It's always people.
It is always people.
Always people. Leaning from the types of magic, I was going to say into the types of divination. because I think divination is a really strong part of witches' practices, regardless if they associate it with witchcraft or not.
Mm-hmm.
Because they obviously commune with spirits, they commune with the dead, they commune with the gods, they commune with somebody, they commune with their familiars. They do some kind of divination.
Mm-hmm.
So I would look into pendulums. I have some pendulums that are put up right now. I would also look into, of course, tarot. Palmistry. There's scrying that you can use things like this to look into and figure out your future and divinate. So there's many different types of divination as well that you could find one that fits into your practice.
Okay, so I do have a question in terms of witchcraft and in terms of spirituality. They're not interchangeable, obviously, but
Nope.
there are aspects of spirituality stuff that can be used into witchcraft, and then there's witchcraft stuff that can be used in aspects of spirituality, right?
Correct.
How would someone identify if it's something that they're doing for spirituality purposes because they don't want to be a witch, and then people who are more focused on the witchcraft side more than the spirituality?
I think that really depends on you, the person, figuring out what you're doing it for.
Mm-hmm.
Because it's very hard. Because, again, divination is a practice that can be used for both witchcraft and spirituality.
Right.
And I think that spirituality, people tend to just use into divination to commune with themselves.
Right.
And witches would use divination to commune with others. Gods, deities, spirits, ancestors. And I think that's... And sometimes spiritualists can lean into the ancestors and the spirit guides. And I don't think that witches do that. I think they do gods, spirits, maybe their ancestors because of the generational witchcraft kind of situation.
Mm-hmm.
And I think they're using it to help others, to help yourself.
Right.
Spirituality is a lot about yourself.
Yeah.
Witchcraft is about...
Yes. Spirituality is like wellness.
Yes, it's mental health, wellness. It's a lot of taking care of yourself.
Yeah.
And witchcraft, we do a lot of stuff to help others. Even if it's indirectly helping ourselves, we're still helping the other people around us.
Mm-hmm.
Because if you do a spell work for good energy, you don't want to take it away from the people around you. You literally say, do unto, make sure that this spell does no harm unto others.
Right.
We're making sure that we're constantly making sure that nobody else around us is being harmed.
Mm-hmm.
Any protection vibe that we send up, we make sure that the people living in our houses are in that vibe.
Right.
I think witches do it a little bit more outward, and spirituality is looking a little bit more inward. So that's the way to look at it, I think.
Okay.
So if you're using divination inwardly and to do more wellness, mental health, spiritual, that kind of stuff, spirituality is your vibe. If you're doing it to like, oh, what's this bitch gonna do? Oh, is this friend, blah, 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 blah. That's probably more witchcraft kind of vibes.
Yeah. Okay. That makes sense.
Now, that's not... My opinion is not the end-all be-all, okay?
Well, obviously.
Oh, no, but I'm just covering my bases for the weirdos on the internet. So, that could change in a couple of years of researching. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
You could have a whole different vibe on that. So, from types of divination, we're going to go into types of spell works. What verbal spells, herbal spells, kitchen spells, obviously. Doing spell work that is like cord cutting, cutting connections, all those different spell bottles. Though I think that spell bottles are kind of limited in what they can be used for.
Mm-hmm.
I think that spell bottles are really good for trapping negative energy, negative stuff. If you want to banish a spirit, like if you're feeling a bad vibe, throw a spell bottle that's gonna suck that energy right into it. I think that if you're trying to get energy to you, you're better off using something like a satchel or something that's a little bit more breathable, because glass isn't breathable.
Yeah.
And if you're trying to do energy towards you, you want the thing to be breathable so the energy can come to you. If you're trapping it in a bottle, the energy can't come to you. It's trapped in the bottle.
Right.
So do research into the different types of spells and why they work the way they do, not just different types of spells.
Hear that? Or make
The
your own
why
spells.
the why of spells is far more important than just getting a spell off of Pinterest. Why look at people who, you can look at Pinterest spells, but I want you to look at why they did the things that they did in this spell and then make your own version. Like, why did they use rosemary for a protection spell? Think about that. Oh, that's because rosemary is a protection herb. Okay, we can put that to the side. We'll use that in our own spell. What other protection herbs are there? We can mix a bunch. Look more into the why than just finding spells to use.
Okay, that does lead me into a different question.
For real, what's up?
I had somebody ask me yesterday, because they are currently working somewhere for, Halloween season, and those places have, those spell books. So they asked me, hey, are these bogus? And I told them it's possible, but there is a chance that it could be used for a reference. Do not do anything to the T in that book, but if it has some good insight into it, then sure, use it for, your...
Are these like the, hold up. They're like the super aesthetic witchy books, right? Like this?
They didn't show me the books, but I assume that it's like the stuff that you can see at places like, Hot Topic and Spencer's and all those
some of them
places.
are pretty legit. Some of them are bogus. It depends. It's hit and miss. It's 50-50.
I said the same exact thing. I said it's either hit or miss.
Yeah, because this one I got from Hot Topic. Great book. Total recommend it.
Do you use it 1-to-1 though?
No, absolutely not.
Okay.
It's a good reference book.
Yes, that's what I was saying.
I don't use any witchcraft book 1-to-1. I'm going to be honest with you. I make everything to myself. I use witchcraft books as reference only. Literally reference only. I actually prefer overall books that are pure. Oh no, my books all fell.
Lamau.
I prefer books that are pure reference. Tells me what the thing is, and that's it. This is my best friend. We literally have the same book. Best friend. It's not perfect. I will never say this is perfect, but I reference it.
Perfect.
That's true. Nothing is perfect.
Like, I feel like everything... Okay, so everything is not one size fits all, because even though that book might work for us, it might not work for other people because they do things differently, and that's totally okay.
They might have a practice that they already have correspondence.
Right.
So they already know what does what. That book might not list their correspondence because that book is based in, I believe, a lot of European practices. So you just look through it through a white lens, a European lens. But I'm Italian, so I can pick through that. And if you're just learning, this is a great place to start.
Right.
Great research book. Because again, it's just a reference book. There's no trying to tell you how to practice your practice. It just tells you, hey, this is what this means from my research. That's it.
Yeah, it's they want to sell you one size fits all, but one size really doesn't fit all, because sometimes it won't stretch enough for a bigger person, and sometimes it doesn't snap enough for a smaller person. So it's up to you to quite literally tailor it so it can fit you and your practices and you as a person.
Yeah, there's never going to be one size fits all for witchcraft, and that's why anybody that tells you this is the rule of 3 doesn't matter if you don't believe in it.
Don't try to force a practice onto someone else just because that's how you decided
That's not how it works. It works for you, good for you.
Right.
It's not going to work for somebody else if they don't want it.
Right. And we're gonna always say that because it's like what we're saying, what we're saying can be used as a reference, because what we are saying is never the end all be all.
Absolutely not. I will preach that, especially because we're still learning. Like I'm restarting my practice to go through the proper steps of learning all of this stuff.
Right.
And bringing Mia alongside with me. So we are actively learning with y'all. So in a couple of years, maybe we'll revisit this topic and change this entire list and be like, don't research any of this bullshit.
Right.
So we don't know everything. We're speaking from our experience. This is our opinions. This is our reference to give to you. To do with it what you will.
Right. So you can't go around and be like, well, Witches and Weebs told me. We disclaimered it. We told you that one size does not fit all. We are telling you to use us as a reference so you can literally build your own practice in the way that fits you most comfortably and your beliefs most comfortably. Like a mod pack.
Absolutely. Like a mod pack.
Or like a mod pack.
Gotta love mods. Because you have to build it to your specific needs. The next topic, I would look into witches familiars, because a lot of you have pets and a lot of them would take on that familiar position if you just asked.
I might have to ask my cat, hey, do you want to be my familiar? He's gonna look at me like, now you ask me, bitch? You've had me for 5 years and now you're just asking me?
Well, okay, in your defense, this is you just properly taking on your journey. He's probably waiting. I know Apollo took on the familiar mantle very quickly. So yeah, start looking into familiars, what they do, how they can help you. They are basically just little protection guardians, especially if it's a cat. They're very spiritually in tune, and they will always know if there's something funky going on in your house. There will be times where my cat is just staring at the wall, and I'll be like, okay, well, you need to go, dude. And then the dude goes.
Babies too. Babies have that same sense of
It's because they don't have any. They're fresh out of the spiritual realm, so they're still very touched.
They are,
and
I love them.
They haven't lost that childlike belief by being jaded.
The world is a cruel place sometimes.
Yeah, because we should just sometimes believe kids when they say stuff. Next thing is, and this is kind of, I would say, touch and go. It depends on what you believe in. Deities. Research deities. Of course, if you're an atheist and don't believe in anything, you don't have to. Duh. Right. That's how that works. But if you do believe in something, like I believe that all pantheons exist. I think that humans have given them power so that if, like, Greek, Roman, any kind of, there's plenty of different African pantheons, but any kind of African pantheon, the Egyptian pantheon, Japanese pantheon, Chinese pantheon, I believe it all exists because humans have the power of divinity in them. Mm-hmm. So, research. I would actually say even atheists need to research the deities, because deities are concepts of human reality. They're just a personification of those concepts. So Zeus sleeps with everything because Zeus is the father of all the gods. He is the father. What's the father supposed to do but recreate? To procreate. That's the concept he represents.
Bro, I never beat those allegations.
I mean, it's true.
Bro is never repeating those allegations.
Man fucked as a swan, as a bull. Didn't he fuck as a cow one time? Or was it a horse?
I bet you he was. Oh, I can't even say that because people might play Baldur's Gate, and I don't want to spoil Baldur's Gate.
No, absolutely don't. Yeah, so absolutely research deities to research the concepts that they represent.
And if you don't want to, then cool.
Yeah, that's pretty much a personal preference with deities.
Yeah. I would say if you have a culture that you're not necessarily familiar with, but you know, like your ancestors or your grandparents or your parents were practices of those cultures, look up those deities because you might have some ties to those deities. So like if you are Egyptian, or if you do voodoo and you have like Yoruba deities that are, help from your family, look those up. Or even if you are in a close practice, you can see like if any of your older family members who are in that close practice could initiate you into that close practice. Mm-hmm. But just don't do close practices without being initiated, because then you are just going to be fucking around and finding out, just like people do with the Ouija board. So please exercise a lot of caution if you are related to anybody that does do those practices. Because I actually don't know if you're automatically initiated into those, if you're born into it. I'd probably have to ask Baji about it because he is initiated into voodoo. But I'm not sure if you get that birthright.
I have no idea, actually.
So that's definitely something that you should look into, because we personally do not know. Because you could be born into something, especially if it's taught to you by your parents or your grandparents or anybody in your family who do those practices. But if you're unsure, just do the research, or even ask if those people have done those close practices and get their opinion and see if that's something that you want to venture into.
Absolutely. The next thing is, from deities, you're going to want to go on to sacred symbols, sacred geometry, any kind of pentagrams, because pentagrams are not bad things. They're protection symbols. The horror, Hollywood has just plucked them and ruined them. So you want to look into all kind of what these symbols mean. The tree of life symbol, sacred geometry is a great thing to get into for symbology.
Okay. I'm taking my notes because I'm a good noodle.
I was gonna say, I was waiting for you to take your notes. Because symbols leads into talismans and sigils. Making your own symbols. Making your own talismans, which you do. You have a little bit of research on sigils already. Still waiting on my runes. I have them here.
Like, I showed this. I have a jar or a vial, and it's a protection vial. We are protected. So it will take all of the negativity and put it into this bottle and seal it up so it don't affect nobody in my house. It doesn't affect my loved ones, because I made sure to have the intention that all of my loved ones, friends, family, anyone close to me is also protected. So all of that negative energy into this vial.
That's a great way to use spell jars. Absorbing energy that you don't want.
Right.
Into the bottles. Excellent.
I might have to burn that out, because I don't want anybody, because apparently I have learned that if someone has your sigil, they can
Yes, I was actually going to tell you that later.
So I'm just going to blur that out just in case, so nobody can get through. Or I can just make a new sigil. It's really no skin off my back, because I love making sigils. I absolutely enjoy making sigils so much.
Yeah, so I was actually going to tell you that later, is to blur that out for sure, because I won't ever show the sigils that I use in my house.
Right.
I will give you example sigils that you can use if you want.
Right.
And that's perfectly fine, but they will never be what I'm using in my house.
Yep. And
because,
be careful with that. I was about to expose myself, but then I was like, oh wait, bitch. Or I could just make a new jar. Maybe it's a sign for me to make a new jar, because I've had this one for a very, very long time. So it's probably got like a bagillion.
Yeah, that actually might be a sign for you to clean out that bottle and
So I'll probably like put it in the earth because it's got like herbs and stuff in here. Just make it turn it into compost.
Yeah, I would just make sure to take it out of the bottle itself.
Oh yeah, for sure.
Because you can honestly, when you break a spell down like this is a good thing to talk about. When your spell work is done and you're using a glass bottle, take the shit out of the bottle and keep the bottle because you can reuse it. You can cleanse it, you can reuse it. Dump the herbs and the biodegradables outside in the earth, bury a little hole, dump it in the hole, bury it, but do not dump glass. Don't bury your bottles. You're polluting and the earth is not going to be happy with you. So next thing is, well, we actually talked about these next two things a little bit, grounding and meditation. These are not necessarily witchcraft practices. These are spirituality practices that can help you in your witchcraft practice.
I like to say that spirituality is a good precursor to witchcraft.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
It's like a Pokemon.
Absolutely.
It's like you got spirituality, and then you got, you know, apprentice witchery, and then you've got full-blown witchcraft.
So grounding is the we'll do an episode on this really, but you go outside, you sit down on the ground, and you focus on pushing your energy back into the earth and back up into the sky. And I have a book called Psychic Witch by Matt that I will recommend to the end of my life. That is the book that I go to for all my energy work and all my grounding practices. That is the only book that I reference. I want to get the other book that he wrote because I just love him.
Alternatively, you can ground yourself with meditation. We actually had plans a while ago to do a chakra series. We're probably still going to do the chakra series, but it's just going to be something that we work our way up to. But
yeah, because we had a lot of plans for that one.
Muladhara, the root chakra, is a great way to meditate for grounding yourself. Affirmations are great for grounding yourself. So even if you're not necessarily, like, you don't need the root chakra incense, you don't need like the red jasper and the carnelian and all of the, you know, root crystals, but because affirmations work just as good.
Affirmations
Things work
and
as
meditation.
much as you want them to. So don't think, oh, if I don't have this crystal, then I can't do this. That's not true. You absolutely can.
The moment you say I can't do it, you can't do it because you said it.
So
it's like you don't need nothing. And like I said, meditation and grounding go hand in hand. That's why I was saying, like, this is kind of a topic that goes beside itself. For witches, meditation is about grounding and getting your energy prepared to work with it. For spirituality, meditation is just meditation. You can also use it into grounding. But I think for witches, meditation and grounding are kind of hand in hand. We use them together.
Mm-hmm.
So just for the record, we have a meditation episode. We will link somewhere. You should go check that out.
Plug in. We're plugging. Self-plug.
We're plugging. The next thing is, again, what I mentioned, the Psychic Witch book is energy working. You need to know how to manipulate your own energy and the energy around you. You need to understand that everything is energy. This whole world is energy. Energy cannot be eliminated. It cannot die. It just is reborn in a different fashion.
You gotta transmute the energy. You can't physically see it, but it's there.
Energy is just a force. You're never going to be able to see it, but it is always there. You move your hand, you've created energy within the air, within your arm.
If you think that you can see an aura, you might be able to see the aura.
You might be able to see the aura. Why we both got something in our eye at the same time? Now, we brought this up earlier, but obviously crystals you can use crystals for witchcraft. Research your fucking crystals.
I have a short series about crystals, so go check it out. I will tell you the properties of crystals. I'll tell you what meditation chakras you can use with them. and a lot of things. I have done lots of research on my crystals, and I actually do have a book that I'm gonna grab right now. Hold on.
I went to pick up a book for the next topic, actually.
I swear by this book.
I
This
think I actually have that book.
is my favorite
Oh,
crystal
I do.
book. So
I do have that book.
if you want to delve deeper into the shorts that you've seen me watch, I reference this book a lot. There's a lot more than I can obviously talk about for 60 seconds, but I definitely recommend picking up this book because it's really good. She also has 2 other ones. There's the Crystal Bible 2, and then there's the Crystal Bible 3. I haven't picked up the 2 and 3 yet, but I swear by this book. This has been my bread and butter for crystals.
I actually have the same thing. And the good thing about the correspondence and the Crystal Bible is that they're pretty close, like, in terms of what they say. So you can tell that the research has been done. The research has been done.
Mm-hmm.
So the next topic is, of course, do your crystal research. Duh. Because we all know you like shiny things. This is going to seem a little corny, but this is my favorite book of all time for elements.
Ooh.
Learning the elements. It's a basic book for teenagers, but it's written just interestingly enough where I read the whole thing start to finish in a half a day.
Damn, that was a good book.
Yeah.
I'm gonna write that down.
It
Hold
was.
up. Elements of Witchcraft.
Natural magic for teens. And it's also something that if you have a teen, you can pass on to. So this book is great. They talk about they have some examples. They talk about the magical year. They have some spells. They talk about the 4 tools, the 4 elements. They just give a really good rundown of everything about the elements and how you can use them in your practice. And it's just a good book recommendation.
Yep.
Altars, of course, I think that any witch really does need an altar.
We
Some
talked
kind
about
of altar.
this.
Yes,
We talked about altars. We talked about getting you a little tiny Altoid scan and making a little tiny altar inside of that.
If you don't have the space for it, perfect little, just so you can cleanse your little energy, have your little circle, right, like that. You want somewhere that you can have all your witches' practices and tools all in the same location, so it's still, and keeps the energy with each other. Because keeping those tools together keeps that energy flowing between the tools and keeps them ready to be used. Plants are a witch's best friend for clearing energy because they are naturally detoxifying. As in, like, spiritual energy, they clean that shit out. They take all energy and make it clear.
I have these 2 books.
Ooh.
And they are really good. So it's not a book that necessarily goes in depth about, like, the plants, but it's got symbolic meanings, it's got possible powers, and it's got little folklore and facts. And then it's got, you know, the scientific name of some of the plants. I'm not sure if y'all can see, but yeah, it's got possible powers, folklore and facts, meanings, even images.
So that looks like it's a really great reference book again.
Yes.
It's where you start looking and then do a little bit more research around different sources. And I love a really good reference book. Which, of course, both of those tie into plants and herbs. That's what you like. Because plants detoxify energy. You want plants, for one, that won't kill your cats, like spider plants. Spider plants are good, non-toxic for everybody involved. It's really good to just have plants in your house because it also clears the air. Like, genuinely, they breathe in the bad stuff and breathe out air. So plants are good. The moon phases. The moon is your bestie friend.
Sure is. I love me the moon. I'm Selene everywhere, Luna everywhere, Moonweaver places like that. Yep.
She's on Final Fantasy 14. She's Luna, I believe, or something.
Lunari.
Something. So the moon, learning the moon phases and what they mean, and when knowing the the yearly moon phases is a great way to expand your practice because you can use the energy of the moon.
Mm-hmm.
I can't remember it off the top of my head, but I believe full moon is for releasing and new moon is for... What is this word? What is this word? Pulling in. Oh my god.
I want to say so because the full moon is when energy is at its highest, and that's where you want to charge your stuff. That's where you want to charge your stuff. That's where you want to, your moon water, your crystals, anything else that but benefits from moon rays.
Yeah, and it's also when you think about how the moon is at those certain points. After a full moon, it gets smaller. The energy is being released.
Mm-hmm.
The moon gets smaller. So that's a releaser. That's a release. And then from the new moon on, the moon is getting bigger. The energy is returning. So there's a little bit more critical thinking than just saying, oh, the new moon is... Oh my god, why can't I think of a word that fits the new moon? Anyway, the full moon is for releasing, and the new moon is for gathering. Fuck it, that's not the word either. English is hard, my guy.
It's hard. I'm trying to think of a word too, and it's not coming to me, and I'm normally okay with words.
Okay, moon phase magic. I gotta look it up now. I have to know. New beginnings. Okay, so it's a place for growing. It's growth. The new moon is growth, and the full moon is releasing. Jesus Christ. That works.
What is the opposite of release?
I don't know, man.
Release antonym.
Oh, this shit buggered me off.
Liberate, free, let go, set free. These are synonyms. I asked for the antonyms.
I was like, liberate? That's the same word.
Oh my god, I hate google.com. Never mind. I don't care anymore.
Google sucks.
It do.
And the last thing is, we actually talked about this in the dream episode, and types of dreaming. Lucid dreaming, astral dreaming, divination dreaming, because your dreams will talk to you and they will help you do magic. So you should go check out our dream episode. Yeah. We already did one of those.
I have an honorable mention with astrology.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
Because astrology, aside from, oh yeah, I'm a fucking Sagittarius or I'm a fucking Stegosaurus, I do this, they are actually referenced by constellations. So knowing constellations and knowing stars and tying that into astrology is very good. And not only just learning about, the universe as a whole and you as a person and other people as people, everything starts to make sense.
It helps a lot to also do certain types of magic during certain times of the year.
Right.
And knowing astrology helps you do that.
Because it's like,
because you don't want, no, it's okay. You don't want an abundance spell in the dead of winter when everything is dead. You want to do an abundance and a growth spell and a prosperity spell in the springtime when things are beginning to grow.
Like, astrology it's not necessarily moon phases, but it can tie into moon phases. Because it's like, okay, well, the moon is in Leo. Okay, it's Mercury retrograde in Libra. You don't know what any of those things mean. So how are you supposed to know what kind of work to do when you have no idea what they mean? So I definitely say look into astrology because that will help you understand more when you can plan to do certain spells for what time of the year and just stuff like that too.
And know what, because again, not every witchcraft is for every person. So knowing your astrology can actually give you a little insight into what witchcraft you'll be really good at.
Very true. Because what the moon, if you look at the moon in astrology, what is the moon? Moon is part of the big three: your sun, your moon, and your rising. What necessarily is the moon? The moon is your emotion. That's how you deal with emotions. That's how, that's how you are emotionally as a person. Not to be confused with Mercury, which is communication. Moon is emotion. And then Venus is sexy.
Love and romance and all those good things.
But definitely moon to me is a very good way of, it can be used in spirituality too, because it can help with your wellness. Once you understand your big three, you start to understand why you do certain things you do and why certain personality traits conflict with it. Because it's like, well, I'm a bitch, but also I'm a crybaby. And it's like, but why? Look at your planets, look at your rising.
Trust me, the answer is in the stars.
Basically, that's literally all it is.
The last thing I want to talk about in terms of basic concepts to research is basic concepts, terminology, stuff like Sabbaths, the Sabbaths of the year, the solstices, common tools like wands, chalices, cauldrons, those things. Just know what the words would get basic familiarity with these words, so that when you read a witchcraft book that uses these words, you know what they are and you understand them. There's a lot of witchcraft practices uses the same terminology, so that we lucked out on that part.
Yeah, some books will have the terminology when you finish it at the end, like in an index. So they'll tell you, hey, this is like, if they have like a little asterisk or they're bold or they're italicized, they'll more than likely have it in the back of the book, like, this is what this means, this is what this means, this is what this means.
If they're a good book. If it's a good book, they'll have that.
Yeah.
Pretty much. If it's a good book, they'll have that. For that, I think that is a good starting point for research, those topics. Because I think that once you start breaking into the types of magic, types of divination, types of spells, you'll start to break into your own path at that point.
Mm-hmm.
And the rest of it is just stuff that you should know overall as a witch. This is the supplies that I would recommend for a beginner witch. Some of those tea light basic candles, because you could buy them at the dollar store. Some paper. Maybe a crystal, a selenite.
Oh my God, I was melting my monitor.
Bitch.
Oh my God, I was melting my monitor. Oopsies.
Oh my God, bitch.
We know now.
A journal, a small bowl that is fireproof of some sort, which is any kind of metal bowl. You could even use a fucking pan if you wanted.
You don't need to be expensive.
You absolutely do not.
We have
and that's pretty much it. That's it. That's all I would recommend for you to really start your journey with.
We
Some
do
paper.
have broke bitch witch tips, so make sure you reference that episode too.
So you can start with absolutely nothing, so long as you have a piece of paper to write on and some candles. I do have some recommendations into journals because I'm a journal fiend, and I think that a lot of people like to use journals. And so I'm going to give you a quick, dirty rundown of the journals that I think you guys could use. These are no terms required, needed, absolute, not necessary. These are just fun ideas for all those people that have 27 journals sitting around their room that have maybe 1 or 2 pages used. I'm not talking from experience, perhaps. Maybe.
I am.
But you can absolutely use a moon journal, like the seasonal tracker, like a seasonal tracker tracking the monthly moon cycles, so you know when the new moon is coming in. Okay, I can do a spell for growth here. It can also help you attune to how the moon changes the energy. If you get into things like astrology, you'll know that the changes in the moon cycle changes the energy of the world, so you can keep track of that stuff. That leads into an astrology journal. There's always something new to learn about astrology.
Just like 2024 is the year of exposure, of
and
truth.
Who said that at the beginning of the year? I'm not going to mention his name because I don't want to bring no drama, but he was right. That's all I'm saying. He was right. He was right. He was right. A ritual journal. I would recommend this be a physical journal. This is a working journal. You're in the middle of a ritual and be like, oh, the energy is slapping right now. You write down exactly what's going on in that ritual, right? This is the place that you jot down what you do when you're working your own personal magic. For new moon, full moon rituals, how you feel on your Sunday ritual, the ritual you use for cleaning, because cleaning can be a ritual and should be a ritual. The monthly resets, that if you do cleansing your house once a month kind of vibes, you can clean it, put that in there. Book log, all the books you read. That way you can be like, if someone's reading that book, you can be like, oh, I read that book, and you know exactly what. Just a book log of all the different places you found research, so you can reference them, even if it's not a physical book, because you can write this one that can be on the computer. I use a lot of my journals are on the computer as well. That way you can include links if you're using PDFs or any kind of Kindle or stuff like that.
Yeah.
A Turo journal, I would also recommend this be something physical, so you can write out your thoughts, because I think writing out your thoughts helps. So Turo journals is what you keep track of all your readings, your daily readings, your card pools, your what you learned, what you associate with different cards, because each deck is a little different. So you'll learn to adjust your readings based on the deck you're reading from. So it's a great place to keep notes like that. Like, okay, this deck is good for general readings, while this deck is good for spiritual readings. That kind of thing. So you don't use decks that aren't really, like, you don't want to use your career deck for a love reading.
Right. Like, tarot cards are so diverse because you don't necessarily always have to use the Rider-Waite Tarot. The Rider-Waite Tarot is just the classic, default learning tarot deck. But there are so many other different tarot decks that are outside of the Rider-Waite. Like, I've got some Rose Oracle, I got the Starseed Oracle, I have a Light Oracle, I have a Fairy Oracle. Like, I love this deck. I swear by this deck. And this deck has delivered many readings that read me to filth and left me a crying, sobbing, disgusting mess. And I really use this once in a blue moon because fairies are sparse. They're not going to be in your face 24/7 unless they want to do a ha-ha funny. I'm hiding your keys because it's funny. Even though I know that you knew that you put it right there. But hee. They're tricksters.
I really need the one that keeps doing that shit in my house to stop. Please and thank you.
But like fairies, they are some very they will tell it like it is. I got like a little door right here in the tree in the little grove.
Oh, those are so pretty. I love them.
Where they invite me in. And it's nice. And I'm lagging. So very cool.
Nice. I love lag.
Me too.
But yeah, each deck, like, I have a bunch of fandom.
Don't let anyone ever shame you into doing like a commercial deck and be like, oh, you're not actually a tarot reader because why are you using a Disney deck? Why are you using a SpongeBob deck? What do you do? Like,
okay,
you choose anything
let
you
me
want.
explain. I did not buy those decks for myself. They are gifts from people. So when those people ask for those readings, I use those decks because those decks are in tune with those people really nicely. They picked those decks out for a reason.
Mm-hmm.
It meant something to them and they thought that you would like it. So I always use all my fandom decks have been used for readings that the people... I don't use them like for my standard readings because I like them a little bit more ambiguous kind of vibes. But I use them to read for people all the time, actually.
Mm-hmm.
I love a good fandom. It's funny, they're cute, some of them are really well done and make a lot of sense.
Like, hold on. I actually have a friend who got me like this Genshin Impact care pack, and I have the major arcana in
Oh shit, that's dope.
Genshin characters. And I love them. I haven't used them yet. I would love to use them. But if I do anything that's just strictly arcana based, major arcana based, then I'll use them because they're already separated into major arcana.
Oh yeah, that's just super convenient.
But you know, you got my baby daddy here as Judgment.
Oh my god, not baby daddy.
You got cute little Klee here, and she's the sun, which makes sense because it's Klee.
She's so bright and happy.
Ayaka's
Ooh, that's a
the
good
moon.
one.
Ningguang as the star. Cause she
Makes
is
total
the star.
sense.
The tower. My baby girl, my pride and joy, my one and only.
And she also went through a massive change in her fucking storyline.
You got the devil. Fear personified basically as the character. You got balance. I could do this for okay, the most fitting one, obviously, for many, many reasons.
Yeah, the most fitting one is Abs. I was gonna ask, what's Hitel? If she's not dead, then it's wrong.
She's the hanged man. Like, I could go on for hours and hours. Like, these make so much sense. Like obviously some of them are commercialized and don't make a lot of sense and are just there for the aesthetic, but some of them are really well done because they're made by people who really enjoyed that series and they put a lot of thought into them. So don't let anybody shame you. Please don't ever let anybody shame you. And
absolutely perfect.
If you can do a reading with a traditional playing deck of cards, you can do a reading with any sort of cards you get. Just make sure you cleanse them, make sure you attune to them, because you're still going to get messages from spirit, source, anything that you are drawing from to read your cards from.
I mean, I have been doing readings more for the last few weeks than I've done in ever, and on God, I have read people to fucking filth recently. I had a dude crying in the last reading I did, and never met him before. I just had him hold the cards and said, here you go, hold those, attune your energy, and the cards did their shit. They know what they're doing. The cards know what they're doing. They know what needs to be said. The next book I would always recommend, and this is also one I recommend doing a physical book for, this is a Book of Shadows. Now, Book of Shadows and Grimoire are two different things. Book of Shadows is your journey. It is, you're practicing. This is your journal. This is, okay, I did this spell a couple days ago, and this is what started happening kind of vibes. This is your witchy learning, your spiritual journey book. This is like the rough copy of your grimoire. You know what I mean? Yeah. This is like, a grimoire is what you want to pass on to your child. That's the end all be all of your witchcraft journey is a grimoire. That's all the spells that are tried and true, you know, work, and you want to pass on to other people that you know work. So grimoire is not something that you start making at the beginning of your journey.
So to put it into video game perspective, a Book of Shadows is the alpha beta, and the grimoire is the full release.
Yes. The full release. And grimoire, of course, can get updates like a video game can, but this is still a full release. The game is damn near completed. After this point, you're just adding on to it.
Oh God, I got something in my tooth.
The Book of Shadows is the 10 years it took you to code the damn game. So Book of Shadows first, Grimoire later. I think Book of Shadows always comes first, and I do think a physical copy that you can jot down stuff in is best. But of course, you want to start practicing your Grimoire And you can start making it pretty. You can make the front page pretty. You can do all the pretty stuff. Just figuring out like the aesthetics right now. Book of Shadows first. And then this one is just for fun. Junk journal, or what I commonplace book. All your random thoughts. All of your random thoughts. This is one that you, again, a physical journal. This is one you put scraps that you want to keep, like, okay, I got this sticker. I'm going to put it in my commonplace book. I don't have anywhere else to put it, but I don't want to just lay it around. So it's going to go in my commonplace book. I had a thought, commonplace book. And then you go through that commonplace book every couple days and sort out. Because it's going to help you remember too.
Mm-hmm.
I love a commonplace book or a junk journal that you just throw anything that comes into your mind in it. Because if you've got ADHD, as soon as it's out of your mind, it's gone. Gone forever, never coming back. So at least write it down. You'll have it somewhere. And I think that's it for my lesson for today. Do you have any questions, Mia?
Less questions, more of, and this is just me being me, the aesthetic fucking asshole.
Oh no.
If you want to dress how you see those commercial pop culture witches with the pointy hats and all the black and all the shit, you do it.
Oh, absolutely.
Like, don't let anyone shame you. Oh, you're not and also don't let anybody try to coerce you and try to bully you into thinking that you have to have a certain aesthetic to be a witch. If you want to wear all black and you want to be gothic, and you want the, like, you know, the witch aesthetic with the, you know, like I said, the pointy hat and all the, you know, the flowy fabrics, wear them.
Mia's fitting right into the vibe right now.
If you want to color your hair every week, go ahead, but make sure you take care of it, because bleaching your hair every week is
yeah.
If you
want
to
to wear anime merch and be a witch, wear anime merch and be a witch. You do not have to fit into any sort of aesthetic. It is not, that's why I didn't talk about, like, I didn't dive deep into, like, aesthetics, because I think that aesthetics mean absolutely nothing.
Nothing.
And you can just look however the fuck. You want to be a sea witch that dresses like a gothic Renaissance painting? You do that, bitch. I would love you.
Like, just don't let anybody shame you into testing out what style comforts you the most. Because the aesthetic is not one size fits all. Aesthetic is not the end all be all. You do not need the pointy hat. You don't need the magic wand. You don't have to have a cauldron, and you don't have to have the fucking pointy nose and going like, you don't have to do all that.
No, we don't look like that. None of us look like that, actually. Witches never looked like that. So, aesthetics don't matter at all. Just make it fit you. You have to make it fit you. You have to make it fit your life the way that you're comfortable. It has to develop with you. That's also why I recommend keeping journals, because finding yourself through the pages will help you develop the aesthetic that you want.
Mm-hmm.
So, welcome to your apprentice witch journey, because you are no longer a baby witch. After this episode, you are now an apprentice witch. Welcome to the coven.
I finally got that piece of broccoli out my teeth. I'm happy about it.
I'm so proud of you.
Thank you. This is part of my spiritual journey.
It only took her an hour and 25 minutes.
It took me the whole episode. Me and that thing got hands.
Honestly, I relate to that, though. Because I had popcorn and it was stuck in my teeth for like 3 days.
Ugh.
I couldn't brush that shit out for nothing.
God damn.
But I think that's a good starting point for everybody. And you know, there's very little that you need to start a magical journey with now.
Mm-hmm.
Parchment paper, a book, a journal to write in, a tea light candle, and maybe a small bowl. That's all.
That's it.
And you can start your journey.
Nothing too crazy.
everything that we recommended in terms of books and anything else, just suggestions to make it easier, to make it a little bit more entertaining, a little bit more fun for you. But being a part of the witch community is very easy because you just have to be interested in witchcraft.
Yep.
That's it. You just have to be open-minded. And I do have to say, if you're going to be a witch, there's one thing that I think that witchcraft is pretty... You have to be willing to help people with your magic. I think that witches are a force for good and a force for revolution, and that being a witch is a direct revolution right now. So if you're going to be a witch, you have to understand that your existence is a part of a revolution.
Your existence is intimidating to people that don't understand it.
Absolutely. Your existence is going to be scary. There are going to be people that don't accept you, but I accept you. She accepts you. My cat accepts you. My other cat accepts you. I'll list more. I'll go to every animal on this face of this fucking planet.
This community and the universe, source, accept you.
So long as you are living your truth and not hurting anybody intentionally, there's nothing wrong with whatever the fuck you want to do.
Yeah.
Ignorance and not understanding and accidents can always be forgiven. So long as the intention was not to hurt, you're good to go. So, that's my word of advice for today. If you want to hear more about being a witch and more of our... Because next, I'm going to make Mia pick the next witchcraft episode that we can start working on. Because it's her journey too.
We already have an idea. We're not the idea. We already have our episode planned. We're gonna be talking about charging. Charging. It don't got no coordinate. How I'm supposed to charge it if it don't got no coordinate? The moon, the sun, your intentions,
the sun, yourself. There's plenty of different ways to charge items, so we'll talk about that next week.
Yeah.
Probably gonna be a little bit of a shorter episode because there's only so many ways you can charge something that don't have no fucking coordinate.
For real.
So, but we're gonna start talking about charging your crystals and all your tools with the energy you need to practice. So make sure you subscribe so you can see when we... What the fuck? You can see when we upload that.
Make sure you like this video so we can get some traction so we can start spreading our knowledge amongst other witches.
And any witches that are watching this in the comments, please leave your practice below so we can do a little research and learn a bit about other practices that are not our own.
Yes, we are open-minded and we are open to other people's opinions so long as they're not shoving it down our throats, and we are not going to shove our opinions and our beliefs down your throat either.
Absolutely not.
We will be accepting as we can.
So long as you don't think that your opinion is the end-all, be-all factual, we're good. So, we will talk to you next week. Actually, we'll talk to you Friday. When this video goes live, we'll have a Fandom Friday for them to watch.
Oh yeah, Apothecary Diaries!
So,
yes, we are watching that faithfully, and it's the best anime that I have seen in such a very long time. We don't talk about One Piece because One Piece is already goated. One Piece has already solidified itself as one of the best anime of all time, so I'm not going to fight over anything about it.
Yeah, the thing is with One Piece has been running for 20 years, so it technically is not the newest anime. It's the best anime of a long time. Yeah, it's just been going for 20 years.
It's still goated.
So, it's go. So, we'll see you next time. And check us out. Check more of our videos out. You know that there's a meditation episode. You can already do that research project. Bye. I don't know what else to say.
Yeah, remember, practice wisely and stay safe. May all your affirmations and manifestations come to fruition. See you next week, everybody. Bye.
Stay mystical. See ya. Doses.